and I'm here with Trish Kelly, our two chairs, and our staff. We are practicing social distancing. Mike Craman's in the room, George Joseph, Mark Mahan, and also our information technology and Representative Gordon Blakely is here with us. So at this time, I'm sorry. Oh, that was
here. Lucille just joined.
Okay.
Janine has just joined.
I just want to remind everyone to please make sure you have your phones on mute during the meeting until you would like to speak, and we would appreciate that. Just keeps down all the background noise. So at this time, I'm going to call the April 9th joint meeting of the Board of Directors to order. It's 9:32. And at this time, will you all please stand for the invocation, which will be led by Vice Chair Will O'Neill, and I will do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you. Lord, we thank you for the ability to serve during these difficult times. We ask that you watch over those who are ill and help them recover. We ask that you watch over the families of those who are ill and provide them comfort. We ask that you watch over our first responders and medical professionals, that you protect them. We ask that you watch over our military here and abroad. We ask that you watch over our country's leaders, that you provide them wisdom and guidance. We ask that you watch over this body and those we serve. And these things we ask in thy name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, Director. At this time, if you will place your hand over your heart if you have somewhere to find a flag near you, and ready, begin. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated if you're standing. Thank you. Excuse me. Okay, so at this time, we will move to roll call, and I will call on our clerk, Mark Mahan, to please call the roll. First with San Joaquin Board Directors, and then we'll move to Foothill.
Vice Chair O'Neill.
Here.
Director Connors.
Okay.
Here.
Okay, thank you.
Director Ed.
Okay, bye-bye.
If you could please place your phone on mute. Director Heft.
Here.
Director Minigar.
Present.
Director Munzing.
Here.
Director Bain.
Present.
Director Stevens. Here. Director Vixort.
Here.
Chair Shea.
Yes, here.
Vice Chair Puckett.
Here.
Director Chafee.
Here.
Director Wong.
Here.
Director Crean.
Here.
Again, sorry, if you could please place your phone on mute. Thank you. Director Miller.
Here.
Director Murphy.
Here.
Director Beal. Director Beal.
Sorry, here.
Okay. Director Voigt.
Here.
Director Ward.
Here.
Chair Kelly.
Here.
Director Bartlett.
Here.
Director Penaloza. Director Penaloza. Director Taylor. Director Wagner.
Here.
And Director Chamberlain.
Here.
We have a quorum with the absence of Director Taylor.
Thank you very much.
Director Taylor is here.
Is that Director Penaloza?
John
Taylor. Okay, thank you.
Okay, Director Taylor's. Okay.
Oh, great. So at this time, before we go to, I want to note that item 10 that is on our agenda will be continued to the May meeting. And so with that,
Director Vixoric,
Here.
Vice Chair Puckett,
Here.
Director Chafee,
Here.
Director Wong,
Here.
Director Crean,
Here.
Director Miller,
Here.
Director Murphy,
Here.
Director Beal,
Here.
Director Voigt,
Here, present.
Director Ward, Director Ward,
Here.
and I'll ask again because I heard a few more beeps. Vice Chair O'Neill?
Yes, he's here.
Okay. He's here. Okay. Director Stevens? Chair Shea?
Yep.
Chair Kelly?
Here.
Director Bartlett?
Here.
And Director Penaloza?
Here, present.
Director Taylor?
Here.
Director Wagner?
Here.
And Director Chamberlain?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We apologize. We hope that we're not going to have another problem, but our system went down. So at this time, I just wanted to note once again, item 10 will be continued until the main meeting. I also want to note to the staff, is the public able to hear us now?
Yes, the public is aware or able to hear.
I know when we went down, I didn't know if that everything came back, so that's good. Okay, with that, we'll move to public comments. Public comments may be submitted by emailing them to publiccomments@thetollroads.com. Comments submitted no later than 1 hour before the start of a board meeting. Someone has their phone on and we are hearing your background talking to people. If you could mute that, please. Okay. Comments submitted no later than 1 hour before the start of a board meeting will be read at the meeting. All comments submitted will be part of the public record and distributed to the board members for their consideration. Reading of comments shall be limited to 3 minutes, which is approximately 500 words per person, and 20 minutes for all comments unless the chair, subject to the approval of the board, sets different time limits. If needed, additional public comments will be read before the closed session portion of the agenda during public comments continued part 2, and shall be limited to 3 minutes, approximately 500 words per person for comments, unless different time limits are set by the chair, subject to the approval of the board. At this time, I will turn to our clerk, and can you share with us how many public comments you have, and would you please read them into the record?
Yes, we have received 3 public comments, the first being Michelle Schumacher, followed by Laura Smith, and then Les McCloskey, and I will begin with Michelle Schumacher's public comment.
I'm sorry, this is Director Bain. As a point of order, can I just ask a quick question?
Oh, yes, go ahead, Director Bain.
Thank you, Chair Shea. Just for explanation for myself and the public, is there any reason that we can give as to why item 10 is being continued to May?
I appreciate that. I'm going to turn to Mike Creeman, our CEO, and he will explain the rationale for that.
Yeah, so the reason that item is being deferred is because the legislative session in Sacramento has been delayed until May, and therefore we're going to take more time with that item before the agency develops its response. So that's why it's being deferred till May.
Did you hear that okay?
Thank you for that explanation. I just wanted to make sure it was explained to the public and to the board. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Sure. Okay, so we won't be hearing that today, but it will be deferred. So then if we move to the public comments, please.
Okay. The first public comment is by Michelle Schumacher, and I will begin reading that now. Good evening, TCA Board of Directors. Why is the TCA staff requesting you all approve the TCA spending money on lobbyists to oppose 2 legislative bills that essentially solidify that you will not pull a toll road through South Orange County? What is going on? The board voted to stop the process just last month and not put a toll road through. Why the 360 on these bills and legislation to protect South Orange County? The TCA has wasted hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars studying a spaghetti map if routes all that made 0 sense and were way too destructive to even be considered. It is insane that so much money was thrown at them regardless, There is no way the routes help traffic and made any sense whatsoever. Please stop this and don't support the out-of-control TCA staff who is asking you to oppose the 2 bills to spare South Orange County. This is getting really old and taxpayers are tired of all this nonsense. Make good by taxpayers and stop wasting money. Why is Amy Potter in the Joint Finance Committee meeting talking about wanting to look for opportunities to reduce bond payments? $4.7 billion is currently owed to the TCA. Making the least amount of payments does a disservice to our entire county. $11 billion is owed, and we will need to be paid by the time of the bonds will be paid down. Why is the TCA staff asking the board to approve $120,000 to look into the impacts of coronavirus? The TCA has a ridiculously compensated executive team, and it is time they start doing some of this work. Did you know that the debt of both agencies has gone down very little during Mike Raymond's reign of 6 years? Operating expenses increased 49% during the period. Professional fees increased eightfold, $993K to $7.3 million. And salaries increased 49% as well, from $5.9 million to $8.9 million. Can you explain this to taxpayers how this is a legitimate 6-year increase? Once again, I ask that some fiscal restraint is implemented. It offends taxpayers' sensibilities to have TCA Chief Toll Officer Operator Samuel Johnson be a president of the International Toll IBB ITA group, and the TCA pays for his airfare, travel, meals, and everything else for another organization's board member. Not right. This is not an acceptable expense of money when so much is owed, and it would not be acceptable without the debt owed. The Chambers of Commerce memberships need to stop. Please rein in this agency and stop the waste. Please do not oppose these 2 bills. Please support them and do right by taxpayers and Orange County constituents and stop the hemorrhage and waste with the operating expenses and professional fees. Thank you and stay healthy, Michelle. End of public comment.
Do we have a timer, just so I know?
Yes.
Okay, we do, okay.
Yeah, the time for these is 3 minutes and I'm timing them on my.
Okay, I just didn't understand. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that.
Okay. So the second public comment is from Laura Smith, and I will begin reading that now. Dear board members and TCA staff, I would like to begin by thanking the Mayor of Irvine for her care and concern of the people to bring up the thoughtful gesture of lowering the tolls during these trying times when many people have been furloughed from their jobs. This was unfortunately met with opposition by the chair of the Joint Finance and Investment Committee. He stated that we should do nothing as an agency that will harm our revenue. Yet I see in this agenda you want to spend $60,000 for each agency for a COVID-19 traffic and revenue forecast. Well, I can tell you for free, traffic is way down, and as one board member said at the committee meeting, he was the only car on the 241 at 8:30 in the morning. So revenue is down also. The agency has been recklessly spending these last 20 plus years, and the man that spoke these callous words has rubber stamped the TCA's thousands of dollars sponsorship lunches to OCBC and South Orange County Economic Coalition and cities, chambers of commerce, sponsorships, festivals of the whales, even our own Ocean Fest. High-priced dinners in the thousands of dollars and golf galas. Heck, they're worried that it wouldn't look good to the bondholders to lower the tolls according to their advisor. Yet the TCA fraudulently builds a free arterial road, then a bridge that is not needed to connect to this road to their toll road, and the supposedly name of safety is being built for millions more. What a waste of the money that could have been used to pay down the bonds. So now that ridership is way down, I hear this agency will be trying to tap into the federal dollars that are being offered from the relief bill, and heard a member say, you have to move fast to get a slice of the pie. So you're asking for aid but can't help out your riders who are the ones paying for all of this in the first place. Thought the TCA didn't use our tax dollars. Another issue I have today is why the need to oppose William Bros and Par Bates bills if the TCA isn't going to extend the 241 any longer and Route 22 Los Bertones ends at La Pata and remains a free arterial road. Are we being lied to again? Thank you, Laura from San Clemente. End of public comment. And now I'm going to read the final public comment from Les McCloskey. Oh, and also I've emailed this report or this public comment because it includes a couple charts. So they're speaking about the charts, and I've sent that to all the board members. Okay, and I'll begin now. In preparation for your 9/22 April meetings, I am providing 2 charts showing an economic analysis of the TCA toll roads project. The chart data comes from the 2013 TCA bond issue document, 464 pages total. The economic analysis considers the life of each bond issue and maturity in that package from 1995 to 2053. The economic analysis computes the equivalent annualized amount for every revenue and expense recorded in that document, both present and projected. Bullet points: bond series 1995, 1999, 2013 ABC, bond debt service, developer impact fees, operating expenses, and toll fee revenue. This chart shows the total anticipated revenue stream to cover the actual bond debt service and anticipated expenses for all the bonds. And that's the TCA toll roads bond analysis chart. The next chart shows the annualized net revenue after expenses in each year, and that's the TCA toll roads bond analysis annualized net cost for cash flow chart. The charts show the actual revenue income prior to the bond retirement and refinancing in 2013, and the projected revenues anticipated after 2000. Compare the actual revenues to the projected. The actual net revenues prior to 2013 are a realistic measure of future results. If you believe the projected revenues are accurate, then please explain to the public your rationale, notwithstanding the COVID-19 impact and higher toll rates on toll revenues. Sincerely, Les McCloskey, and that's the end of that public comment, and there are no more public comments.
Thank you very much. So at this time, that we finish with public comments, we will move to the consent calendar. The consent calendar, and this is for the San Joaquin Hills Board of Directors, items 1 through 6. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by a 1 roll call vote. There will be no discussion as board members request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate discussion. At this time, I would ask any member of the San Joaquin Board, is there any item that you want to remove, and identify your name? If not, is there a motion to move the consent calendar for San Joaquin Hills?
Minigar, move.
Okay, there's a motion by Fred Minigar, and there's a second by Janine Heff. Is there any further discussion on the consent calendar for San Joaquin?
Madam Chair?
Yes, is this Lisa Bartlett?
Yes, I was having trouble unmuting my mic for a second. Regarding item number 6, I just had some comments on the traffic and revenue forecast. I know that there's a proposed expenditure for Stantec to do another traffic and revenue study based on COVID-19. It's a little bit difficult because unless they've got experts in the healthcare industry at Stantec, I mean, even the County of Orange and the state of California, we don't know when the surge is going to be or when the peak of this COVID-19 is going to be within our communities. And so to extrapolate just from that with regard to patients, people getting infected at the local level and how that translates into ridership on the toll roads and then to revenue, I think it would be really challenging for Stantec to come up with a revenue model when we've got moving targets relative to COVID-19 right now. So I'm a little bit concerned about an expenditure of dollars, and I don't know how they would create a model that could extrapolate potential revenue because we don't know if we're going to be done with social distancing at a particular date. We don't know when we're going to hit the peak or the surge with this COVID-19. So there's a lot of unknowns even at the county and state level, and I don't know how Stantec would be accessing information where they would have the same or better information than we would have relative to figuring out the impact on ridership and revenues on our toll roads.
Thank you for those comments. Why don't I turn to a Chief Financial Officer that is overseeing this contract. Amy Potter, would you want to respond to those concerns and thoughts?
Yes, thank you. So what Stantec is doing for, or what they will do for us and what they're doing for other clients as well, is that they're coming up with various scenarios of what that traffic pattern might end up being over the balance of this year and into next fiscal year. And so what they're able to do with that is with those various scenarios that look at a growth pattern, say, for instance, from where we are today, a baseline, and then a gradual increase, which is a more optimistic view, versus one that would dip down below where we are today and then come up at an even slower pace. And then there's various ones in between. And then they're able to take that information and apply it directly to the models that are applicable to the transportation corridor agencies. So it will be a range of scenarios that we will be looking at and that we will then be presenting to the board, but they can take those various assumptions and apply them to the specific transactions and revenues and toll rates that we see on the San Joaquin Hills and the Foothill Eastern, and we'll be able to provide that information to you.
Okay, so they're not extrapolating real-time data because nobody knows what the future holds. They're just saying, if we continue with the global pandemic and we still have social distancing through June, we anticipate ridership is going to be down X. And if we get through this crisis over the next month or so, when we get relieved of social distancing and we can move forward and ridership goes up by X because people are back to work again, this is what our revenue forecast might be. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Okay. Then I'm okay with this. I thought they were taking somehow real-time data and making real-time extrapolations, but that's not the case. They're doing different potential scenarios based upon different things that could be coming up relative to the end of the coronavirus, people getting back to work, the relief of social distancing, et cetera. So I understand now. Thank you.
This is Scott Boyce from Lake Forest, Director Scott Boyce from Lake Forest.
Yes, well, let me make sure that, because it's going to be easier if I just call for additional speakers, and we will call on you, Scott, and then if you have
No problem. Thank you.
let us know. Go ahead.
I'm concerned that we're making these assumptions and hypotheticals and spending up to $60,000 on it when they're just guesses, basically. Because what is going to prove as we enter out of this phase of the coronavirus, obviously traffic will be improving as jobs come back, but it's a hypothetical.
Okay, that's a good comment. Are there any other comments? If you would let me know.
Madam Chair, this is Director Miller.
Okay, Director Miller.
Thank you. Amy, could you explain, has there been a lot of discussion about how this pandemic has shown businesses how they can operate differently, and it could dramatically change traffic around the county as organizations realize they can have more of their employees work from home. Is that going to be part of this study? And, what parameters are they going to use for that?
Yes, that's definitely one of the views that's out there right now, that since many businesses have invested in the infrastructure to have their employees telework, there is a view that businesses may continue on somewhat with having some of their employees continue to do that. Stantec has certainly taken that into consideration, but at this point, I think since we're just doing ranges, that is essentially taken into consideration in some of those more severe scenarios.
Okay, thank you.
Madam
Are there any other?
Wagner?
Yes.
Madam Chair, Don Wagner here.
Hi, Don. How are you? Go ahead and speak.
I'm good, thank you. Amy's explanation made this even more troublesome as far as I can see. All right, so we've got ranges. We aren't going to know until after we come out of this which range was accurate. I'm not seeing any action coming out of this and coming out of these ranges. Okay, so we've got ranges. What are we supposed to then do with that information, since by definition we don't know which actual projection ends up being accurate? All we have done is spend $60,000 to say this is the whole gamut, and then we do nothing until we see what actually materializes. So I'm not sure that I understand the point, kind of along the lines of Director Voigt's question.
Well, just for clarification, Don, this is a $120,000 contract. It will eventually, the Foothill will be approving it, and so will San Joaquin. Is that correct? So it will be $120,000. So let me ask: is there anyone?
Go ahead.
Okay. No, I was just going to say, are there any other speakers? And would there be an interest by the maker of the motion to perhaps continue this item until May and then bring this back in the early June timeframe so that we might have an opportunity to get through this process and have a better playing field to be dealing with this?
This is Director Fred Minigar. The motion is well taken. Yes.
And also, would you like? Okay, so you're going to amend your motion to continue this till. I'm sorry. Yeah, just one moment. We'll turn to. Oh no, you're fine. Okay, so we'll amend the motion to move to what seems reasonable, the June meeting. Would that be fair, Chair Minigar?
So let Amy address that.
Oh, Amy, could you address this, please? When would be a good time? I'm thinking the meeting in June.
We have to get a budget. We have to do a budget.
I think if I
can't hear you.
Right. So let me address, I think, Director Wagner's question, because I think that helps answer this question of when we need this information. So what we will do is we have to adopt a budget by June 30th for fiscal year 21. And I actually have a presentation today to give you additional information on that and the requirements for that. And so what we would do with this work, which would obviously need to be done then prior to June if we go forward with it, would be that would help guide us with those bookends of these various scenarios and help us determine what we would like to adopt as a revenue assumption for the budget, because then we have to meet certain bond indenture requirements when setting our budget. And so we will need to set what we think is a reasonable assumption for a revenue forecast for next year that meets our bond indenture covenants. And as I mentioned, I will go through this in more detail in the update that I have to provide you today. So if we do this work, we really need to do this work now. I think delaying would not help us with the purpose of this work.
So you don't believe that Santec can give us an estimate, Amy, without having to go through this whole review?
Well, I've already utilized the contract authorization that we had for the budget process to get some preliminary information. But I would not be able to continue on and get the type of work that I think not only our agency is doing, but others are doing as well in helping them inform them of the type of budget that they would put forward.
Amy, this is Director Fred Minigar. $120,000 is a lot of money. Can we get some kind of discount on that if you're obligated to present this before the budget approval?
So this is a not to exceed amount, and they only charge us for the work that's done. I think we could get the work done for half of that, so $30,000 per agency.
Madam Chair, this is Director Miller.
Oh, yeah, Director Miller. Yeah, and the CEO just reminded me that we did have this go through committee. Which committee did we have this at? Do you remember?
This went through toll ops.
Okay. Yeah. Toll ops. Okay, good. Go ahead.
So it went through toll ops. Madam Chair, this is Director Miller. Amy, what would be the issue if we made the assumption that our revenues, why do we need Stantec to come in and say, well, it could come back to 50% of where it was, or 60% or 70%, whatever that number is, why do we need them to tell us what that's going to do? Why can't we just, based off our numbers of what we're seeing today, and make the assumption, hey, let's be conservative on this one. Let's say we only get 30% of our ridership back. over the next few months? Why wouldn't we plan for the low end of this, because it is such an unknown? Even if Stantec comes back and gives you ranges, how do you know which one to use when we pass our budget if things haven't changed? We'll see the ridership starting to change, and then we'll have a good idea by the time we have to pass our budget. Why would we spend $120,000 on Stantec to do that?
Right.
Go ahead, Amy, if you could answer that.
Yes. So just for clarification, first of all, I don't believe it would be 120,000. That was something that we had discussed with the committee as far as just having a not to exceed amount. And
okay,
so
let me ask the question differently. Why would we spend any money on Stantec to have them do that?
Mm-hmm. All right. So what they would provide us with is the actual so revenue and impact on the transactions. You're right. You know, I guess if we want to make our own assumption, we have to make a decision anyway and a recommendation on what we think that would be. I just think that having our traffic and revenue guide us as more to the numbers that we utilize that need to meet those requirements of a reasonable forecast.
Hey, Mike and Christina, we can hear you, and I'm having a really hard time hearing Amy over your background discussion. Can you mute your mics and have Amy restate that?
I'm not talking. No one's talking in here, so it must be somebody else.
But we can hear the background noise. You're picking up the conversation you guys are having, and I can't hear you.
Okay, but we're not talking, so it's got to be someone else. But yeah, if everybody could mute their phones. But yeah, no one in this room here is talking to each other. So,
Director Shea, it's Director Bartlett.
yes, go ahead.
Okay, I think there is value to having they're professionals in this field. This is what they do for a living. We're not professionals at making these extrapolations, even on real-time data. And I would be a little bit nervous, and I think our bondholders would be nervous too, if we try to do this ourselves. So I don't mind spending a reasonable amount of money. And I know it's an up to, not to exceed amount, but I think we ought to leave it with the professionals. They're working with different agencies also that we get the benefit of. With some of the modeling that they're doing. They're working with other transportation agencies. So we're going to get the benefit of their expertise. And this is what they do for a living. I think it'll be a lot less than the $60,000 figure, but I think we do need to leave it to the professionals and let them do those extrapolations and see what they come back with. And then we can fold all of that into our budgeting process. But I would be very nervous about, us at the agency trying to figure out what our revenue projections and impacts are going to be relative to the whole COVID-19. I'd rather leave that with the professionals, spend a little bit of money and get some professional opinions and results on this. Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, this is Director Miller again.
Yes,
I just would like to respond to that if I could.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm only going to respond because I did not hear what Amy's response was. We would spend the money. So I'm still a little foggy on it. But my concern is you're asking an agency that does this, and they're not using real-time data on it. They're using the same data we have. They have no idea when this thing is going to be, softened, or we're going to be able to go back to work. Why would we spend the money to have them take a guess at something that we could equally take a guess at and be very conservative on this one? And I understand the bondholders are going to be concerned about this. As well, they should be. They should be concerned about the drop in traffic today, I would think. If I were a bondholder, I'd be concerned about it. So, why would we spend more money to get a guess at what's going to happen? And you made the point earlier on in the conversation. They don't know when they're going to relieve the restrictions on this. They don't know what's going to happen with this. They're guessing on will businesses change their model, and I get that. See them doing that because they are better at that piece than we are. And I'm not saying we should replace them. I'm just saying we don't have the information. They don't have the information to really give us a good estimate for our budget. So that's my concern, is that whatever we get from them, how much more valid would it be than us just saying, you know what, we think next year we're only going to get 30% of it back. It's very, very conservative. We can work off that. If we're wrong, we just have more revenue coming in and we can adjust at that point. But I don't see why Stantec has to come back and tell us that. That was my point.
Okay, Amy, because there was some interference, do you want to quickly respond so Joe and the team hear your response one more time?
Sure.
This is
I think
clearly probably should have been on a business, but it isn't. So if you could just respond, because there was some kind of noise coming from somewhere.
Sure. I think that Director Bartlett echoed exactly what I was trying to say, is that I just think there is value in having the experts who really are looking at all of these issues, help guide us with those forecasts. And I don't think it will, as I mentioned, this is just a not to exceed. We don't really need to have 120,000. It's only spent as needed. So my recommendation would be that we could move forward if the board so chose with a lower amount, if they felt more comfortable with that.
Madam Chair, this is Scott Voigt from Lake Forest.
Yes, Scott, go ahead.
Yes, I just would like to echo what Director Mueller said. This is like playing darts. You can have an expert play darts in the dark, and he's not going to hit the target. The fact that we're playing darts in the dark right now. So I don't think that this is a good use of the public's money. So I think that right now at this time, we're going to be playing darts in the dark. So I think that until we get this settled a little bit and see when we open up, I think that it's all hypothetical and it's going to be changing. Every day is changing. So let's just push this off. I think that we should table it for now and bring it back next month.
Okay, so you're suggesting in May. What about the maker of the motion, Director Minigar? Would you support that? Give us at least 30 more days. We'd still be way ahead of our budget process.
Before we do so, Madam Chair, I have a question for Amy. Amy, would you please clarify this? I'm under the impression that to prepare a traffic and revenue analysis is a requirement on an annual basis for the toll agencies in the country, because the bond issuers want to make sure that on an annual basis they have a projection of revenue. Isn't that the case?
This is what I would.
It's not an actual requirement according to our bond indentures. Our bond indenture indicates that we need to present a budget that has a forecast that meets our bond indenture covenant. So we could just do this on our own if that's what the board so chooses.
Then, Madam Chair, with that, I'd like to continue this item. We have to wait, as Director Miller and Director Bartlett mentioned, we have to wait and see what happens. So I think if we can wait for maybe 2 months or so, then it would be more appropriate to come up with a traffic and revenue analysis. At this juncture, I would like to move to continue this item.
So you're amending your motion to continue. Does the second agree to that? And date certain, or would we bring it back? Yeah, excuse me, George Joseph. Go ahead, Janine, and then we.
I actually didn't say anything, but I'm fine with waiting because I think it's important to see the information bear out.
Okay, so I'm going to turn to our attorney. Can you hold on 1 second?
Madam Chair?
Yes, Peggy, just hold on 1 second. George Joseph wants to speak, and then I'll turn to you. Our CEO, do you want to speak, Mike?
Just, Amy, isn't it a requirement of our budget process that we have a traffic and revenue recommendation as part of our budget process? And we have a budget workshop on April 22nd, and then we will have additional meetings through May where this information would be used.
Okay, did you all hear that because of the budget process, there's a requirement for us to have a projection, a traffic projection?
Asking Amy, is there, I believe the toll rate policy that we just passed, as well as our budget policy, requires that we have the opinion of the traffic and revenue consultant as a basis for our revenue assumptions in the budget.
Okay, so Amy, you want to answer that? Then I want to go to George Joseph, and then I will go to Peggy Wong.
Yes, the toll policy that the board just recently adopted does indicate that we would utilize our traffic and revenue consultant on an annual basis to develop the budget.
But at this point in time, you mentioned that we are out of money, but they have been doing studies. But is it this year? Or was that last year that we've had these reviews?
So we have exhausted.
They've done nothing.
We have exhausted the entire contract authorization that would normally carry us through the entire budget process. But we've already started work on this process, which then utilized that existing contract authorization.
So, okay, just to get to this clarification, so this year, that would require us to present this during the budget process, how much have we spent so far this year, and how much has been studied so far? Which would be going back to July 1st.
Yes, I believe we had an entire authorization for the budget process of $60,000, which we have utilized. And yes, I do have some information already prepared, which I believe you're aware of. I've shared with some of that with the COVID-19 ad hoc. So I think we have some information available.
Well, when you say some information, if we started from July, because of the bond requirement says that we need to have this study, and since July we've been spending money, $60,000, do we have enough information that would allow us to continue this and have a discussion in May, or bring us, you know, to a point that it would still justify within our bond covenant that we have done a study? Because it sounds like we spent most of this year doing that. So it's not like we haven't done it at all. I mean, haven't we basically got quite a bit of information?
Yes, you're correct that we have gone through the majority of the process, which then unfortunately what happened is it changed. Since we spent the majority of the funds under a scenario that was pre-COVID. And so essentially we have numbers now that no longer make sense, because nobody could have anticipated this situation happening. So we had done that well in advance, like we always do.
Okay, so just for clarification, because I think this discussion is really important, we have not done anything. We've completed and gone through a pretty substantial study. Yes, things have changed, but every toll road in the United States are facing this. So I don't feel that we're in a position that the bondholders are going to kind of flip out on us, because every toll agency in the country is facing this immediate problem. So I tend to think, just my personal opinion, that to continue this item is not going to ruin us going into the budget, but that's just my 2 cents. So I want to turn to George Joseph. If you could share your thoughts. You wanted to share something. I'll go to Peggy Wong then.
I was just going to make a point of procedure. We currently have a motion and a second on all 6 consent calendar items. So if there was going to be a motion to continue this item to the next board meeting, that would have to be an amended motion on that item.
Right, and that's what I said.
And we would vote on that
the
first.
maker of that he was amending the motion for 6. So if I didn't clarify that, I appreciate that. So that's what we're doing right now. We're amending the motion for 6, and then we will make sure we include and I was going to call for a entire vote for the entire item. And which I do want to clarify, and I want to go to Peggy. I don't know what's up with the calendar here, but under San Joaquin consent only, if you look at 6, it includes Foothill to be voting on this. I don't know how that got in there, but I want you to know we're only voting for San Joaquin, and then we'll vote for it when we go to the Foothill, but it is showing both boards would be approving it under the San Joaquin Hills, and that's not accurate.
No, it's identical in both consent, because it's a joint item.
No, this is not a joint item. Well, I know, but okay, so just saying.
Item 6 is on both consent.
Okay, but under San Joaquin consent calendar is all we're addressing right now. This should not be on there. Foothill should not be addressing that, because it should just show San Joaquin is only going to approve it. Because if they approve it, it shows action is for Foothill as well. So I'm just saying that next time we would want to break this out. So San Joaquin is clearly under San Joaquin, and the Foothill approval would only be under Foothill. So we'll just fix that. It's not a big deal, but I just wanted to bring that up in case someone noticed that as well. So now we'll turn to Peggy Wong.
2 questions. First one is, I don't know if you can count that I raised my hand. The WebEx does have a little, if you're using the web, it does have a little raising the hand. So that might help in terms of the order of speakers. But my question for Amy is that given that Santec has started the work on the forecasting, and you've got figures for March for ridership, and you'll probably get it for April when we come back for May. Can't you, for us in-house, can it be done by taking the forecast and looking at what's gone on for the last 2 months, and probably by May we'll know a little bit more about how much longer this stay in shelter order will stay, whether or not it'll extend past June or possibly July, to give a forecast. I would think that the bondholder, knowing that the uncertainty of the climate in terms of how the shelter-in-place order will affect the economy and ridership, would not be asking for a 85% certainty. But I would think that given the amount of work in terms of the forecast and what you know from March and April's ridership, to give a projection.
Yes, we certainly make our own projections all of the time. This is really just something that we've typically done for the budget process. And as I mentioned, we had already worked with Stantec for this year's budget, because we start that well in advance. And then it really got turned upside down when the COVID situation came into play. That being said, I think, if it's the board's pleasure to not do any additional work on this and just use our own internal projections, I think we can do that. As our CEO mentioned, it is part of our toll policy right now that the board has indicated that we should utilize a traffic and revenue consultant. However, I think there isn't any specific bond indenture requirement at this point that would require us to do that on an annual basis. So I hope that helps.
Okay, Madam Chair, it's Director Bartlett.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I understand what Amy is saying. I think we need to have a professional firm do the extrapolations and present some numbers back to us. Our bondholders are not going to be happy if we said we just winged it and did it ourselves, and here are the numbers we came up with. It could affect our credit rating. The bondholders would not be happy about it. It's like a homeowner going out and getting a home loan and not having a bank appraiser come out and having the homeowner say, well, I did my own appraisal, so give me a loan based upon my personal opinion on my appraisal of my house. There's a reason we have professionals in the field that do this kind of work. And I think to put the bondholders at ease, and certainly the credit rating agencies, they're going to want to know we had professionals doing the work with regard to taking a look at the numbers, what's happening out there, and coming up with a reasonable extrapolation. And I think we have to distance ourselves from, in doing those kinds of things internally, because we're not the experts in the field. We don't have access to data across the range of things that these professional firms have, especially when they're doing these kinds of data analysis for a multitude of agencies that they work with, a multitude of transportation agencies, for instance, like Stantec, who's well-known in the industry and has credibility. So for the money that we're going to be allocating, and I hope it's going to be a lot less than $60,000, I think it's worthwhile to have the professionals do it for a whole host of reasons, for our bondholders, for their level of comfort, for the credit rating agencies that are going to be looking at us as our revenues are significantly down, ridership is down. I think we need to expend those dollars and retain professional firms like Stantec to do this critical work. We are expecting a surge either late April, beginning of May. So I don't know how long it takes them to do this work, but I wouldn't want them to start until after we get through that surge period at the county, because that's going to be very telling and have an impact on the numbers. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me just say, I'm sorry, can you, one second, I can't hear you well. I just want to mention, if someone says that your hand is showing, we can't even see that on the screen. So I just want you to know we're not ignoring you. We just don't, the screen is so tiny here, we can't see that. So who's speaking now at this point?
This is Lucille.
Lucille Green, go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. This is a very interesting conversation and debate, but I wanted to address Amy. Amy, do we lose anything if we postpone this until the next board meeting?
So if we want to have the work done, if that's what the board decides to do, then I think we need to do it now because we need to start presenting this information to the board and be able to make some decisions on what we include in our budget because a lot of the expenses run off of the revenue assumption. And so in order for us to put together the entire budget process and have that adopted in June, the timeline is very tight. And we normally would have already had this portion done, but that's where I was suggesting that because of the changes and all of a sudden having to deal with the COVID situation, it's changed all of the original assumptions that we were starting with in our budget process.
Okay, then I'm in agreement with Lisa. I think that we need to do this, have professionals do it. And I think we know as a body that the roads are not being used to the extent that they used to be. But these are projections, and these people, it's probably going to be less than 60,000. So I'm in line to support the measure. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucille. Is there any other member that wants to speak?
Madam Chair, this is Mark Murphy.
Okay, Mark Murphy. We'll go one at a time. First Mark, and then when he's done speaking, I'll ask again who might want to speak. It just helps because I can't hear who's chiming in. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks, Madam Chair. I'm curious, Amy, I'm assuming based on past experience as well as the data that's already been generated, we could do projections based on ridership numbers going up and down. Is that true?
Well, we can certainly make our own assumptions, as I mentioned.
Well,
meaning, yes, we could take what they've given us and we could try to haircut it. I'm not sure that the actual transactions would line up perfectly, but we could attempt to do that. And yes, it may be as good of a guess as anybody else.
Well, my feeling at listening to the conversation here is it's great to gather information, but it doesn't make a lot of sense to gather information at a point in time that where so many things are in flux. I mean, you can make the study kind of go any way you want to. At the end of the day, the board's going to have to make a best estimate on where revenues will be given the situation. Like has been mentioned before, the situation is much different than it was 60 days ago or with expectations and the rest. So I'm not inclined to spend any additional money now. I think it's more of a math equation than it is a traffic analysis equation at this very point. But I do think that we need to be prepared to spend some money later on as we start to get some sense of how long these effects might last and what the worst case scenario is for our 2021. I think it was Director Mueller earlier that referenced the fact that if we went with a conservative approach, that's always easier to increase based on increased revenues than it is decrease. And I think we've got to be pretty conservative at this point, given the fact that there still are a number of unknowns to the equation. Maybe it's a comparison spot where we look back at 2008 at the last big decline, and see where that is and how that matches up as maybe a comparison point to at least give some logic for the board. But my suggestion is I'm okay to continue this item to be brought back later on, but I'm not okay with approving it today under the guise that we can't do our budget unless we have this extra $120,000 between the two boards.
Thank you, Mark. Who else would like to speak?
Mike Munzing.
Mike Munzing, we'll go with you. And who is it?
A couple of comments. This is more directed to the attorney. I was in concurrence with him thinking the same thing. This item should have been pulled from the consent calendar from the get-go in my mind. That way we can vote on 1 through 6 and then make this its own individual item. Because now we're still kind of muddied up. The waters are all muddy because we've got 1 through 6 and 1 through 5 and then this. So I'm in concurrence with Dr. Murphy and Scotty Voights and Director Mueller that, even the experts are throwing darts in the dark at this point because we're in uncharted waters completely. No one knows what's coming. And who could have ever imagined in 30 days we'd be where we are now? So I guess my question for the attorney is, would it be better for, for cleanliness of the meeting? Should we now pull item 6, vote on 1 through 5, and then continue this discussion on 6? That's my question.
Well, the situation is that we have a motion and a second already on all 6 items. So procedurally, we need to do something different on item 6 if we want to treat it differently. My suggestion would be that if the mood is to move to continue item 6, that be presented as an amendment to the motion that was made on item 6 only. Then we decide on item 6, have whatever additional discussion is needed, and then proceed with the motion on the balance of the calendar.
And that's exactly what I was going to do, Mike. So that's the process we're in right now.
Right. I was just
item 6.
Madam Chair, this is Director Fred Menegar. I wanted to reinstate my motion. Only item number 6 to be continued until further notice when we decide it would be appropriate and the economy would be the right time to do it.
Right, and I noted that in the...
This is Director Heft, and I will go ahead and also second that.
Okay, so what we're doing is, again, I want to make sure that because we're focused on this item, that I want everyone to have an opportunity to speak to the item. It's now been amended, and I want to hear any other comments. And then we will make sure that we add the amendment to the full 1 through 6 items and then vote on the entire consent calendar. Is there anyone else that wanted to speak?
Madam Chair, this is Director Ward. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. I wasn't able to get through. So, listen, board, there is other things that need to be clarified on this. There's 2 task orders that we're looking at that we're voting on to continue now. One of them is a task order for $49,997 that is for future traffic conditions, and it says it's a system-wide study. So my question to Amy, is that the amount, almost $50,000, that you needed to finish the actual future traffic study that you needed for the budget process?
No, this item is only for task 001, which is the annual budget process and incorporating the COVID-19 impact. So this is
okay. So what that would be the traffic and revenue model that would support our budget process.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So I have a question, and maybe Director Menegar would remember this. Was it Stantec 2 years ago that came to us with our annual traffic and revenue study, and they were using old maps that had growth that was no longer relevant, and we asked them to come back with new maps? Do you remember that?
Director Ward, yes, I do recall that vividly. That is correct.
Okay, so my comment to staff would be that Stantec, you need to speak to this vendor, and that they have to bring the board the most up-to-date models, maps that they're using to give us the most up-to-date modeling. That was a comment that I wanted to make because I wasn't here last year to see if they had corrected that or not. So that's a concern that I have with Stantec. The other concern, I think Director Miller said it the best, is this pandemic could go for quite a long time, and there could be a worst case scenario where businesses actually change the way they do their business and the people work from home. And I agree that we aren't going to know that for a long time. And I think the way this agency has structured their debt right now, we have more than enough cash to meet our bond obligations. I think that's been said multiple times. So I think that we can wait on this COVID extra $60,000 per agency at least for a couple more months, and then we can, study it again. But that was my comment. I wanted to know what the $50,000 was for.
And I agree that we need to continue this because we need to really have a grasp of what we're going to be trying to look at. That's my comment.
Thank you. Anybody else want to speak to the item?
I did.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Trish Kelly. Good.
Yes, I am feeling uncomfortable with the way we're proceeding with this. I think we should have pulled item number 6 for separate discussion. And since I'm hearing a difference of opinion on whether to approve this action as recommended or to amend it, I would be more comfortable with pulling item 6 for separate discussion, because I think that some people may not agree with what this amendment is, and they'd have to vote no on the entire consent calendar unless we pull it separately.
No, because I was going to ask to have it amended.
I concur with
When we
Trish.
go back to the, well, we have a motion and a second, but now we're amending the motion and a second to show there's going to be a continuance in item 6, and we can all vote on that. If you don't want to, but we can pull out let's do this. Let's pull out the items 1 through 5.
Yeah, really the question here, as I'm hearing it, is do you want to vote on 1 through 5 first, or do you want to vote on an amended 6
Let's
first?
do that. I'm going to make a motion, or why don't we move, Fred and Janine, if you'd be willing, let's separate this out because a few board members are getting confused. So why don't we let's ask for a motion right now to vote on items 1 through 5 with the second, and we'll take that vote and then we'll go back and take the vote on 6.
Madam Chair, I make a motion to do so.
And
Okay.
I'm willing
Janine, are
to
you?
second that too. That's fine. This is Janine.
Okay, and this is for San Joaquin only. Items 1 through 5 are before us. And then do you want to let's call a roll call vote?
Chair Shea,
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill. Vice Chair O'Neill.
Yes.
Director Bain.
Yes.
Director Bartlett.
Yes.
Director Connors.
Yes.
Director Heft.
Yes.
Director Kelly.
Yes.
Director Minigar.
Yes.
Director Munsing.
Yes.
Director Penaloza.
Yes.
Director Stevens.
Yes.
Director Taylor.
Yes.
Director Vixoric.
Yes.
And Director Wagner.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Okay, items 1 through 5 have gone through. They're been unanimously approved. We are now on item 6 of the consent calendar again. We do have a motion and a second to continue. Are there any other comments or discussion on this item?
Madam Chair, this is Director Heft. I would appreciate if we could once more read exactly what the amendments to this are so everyone is very clear.
Well, there's only one amendment. It's being proposed that it would be continued. That's the only thing that's been brought forward at this point in time.
Okay, so there's no date.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry, there's no date that's been proposed because I've heard July, I've heard May, I've heard June.
Yeah, no, there's no date at this point. No date.
Point of order. This is Tony Beal. Are you going to call for, or are we going to do a similar vote on 1 through 5 for Foothill Eastern?
Yes.
It
But
seems
not
to me
now,
that we
yeah.
could do that.
When I get there, when I get to Foothill Eastern's consent calendar, yes, I will. But we're not talking now. Now it's San Joaquin's Foothill. Now it's San Joaquin's consent calendar.
The point that I was trying to make is that it seems to me, before you move on to item 6 for a joint discussion, you might want to have resolve 1 through 5 so that the Foothill Eastern can contribute to the conversation on number 6.
Okay, so Tony, for your clarification, we're on San Joaquin consent calendar. What happened is staff put both Foothill and San Joaquin on as a joint discussion for that item. That is not what we're doing. We are now talking, San Joaquin members are talking about item 6. When we get to Foothill consent calendar item, then 6 is on there as well, and it will be, we'll move 1 through 5, and then we will go to 6. And only Foothill will be discussing it, okay? If you look at your calendar.
I understand what you're saying, but it seems to me then the possibility exists that we might end up with a different result on number 6 for each board.
Yes, we'll turn to George Joseph.
Madam Chair, as I understand the suggestion, it is to take items 1 through 5 of the consent calendar for Foothill out of order now, vote on those, and then have a joint discussion of item 6 together.
That's fine.
That would be, that would work procedurally.
So we will just table this discussion, go to item 1 through 5 for Foothill.
It's different numbers. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, see, this is what's confusing. I kind of like to stick to what we have in our front of us. Okay, because we may have other items pulled that gets this, now we're getting off track. So could you let me kind of run the meeting here, just if you don't mind? I would appreciate that we could get to item 6. If we go to Foothill and we have another discussion with the other Foothill board members, that's fine. I hate to extend this out, but I just think it's better because there's other items on Foothill that are not just 1 through 5, and we may have other items pulled, and it's going to get complicated. So,
Madam Chair,
yes.
Madam Chair, this is Scott Boyce from Foothill. I'd like to move the consent calendar for Foothill that we pull for continuation item number 6 for discussion. Thank you.
Okay, is there a motion to move the consent calendar for Foothill?
Yes, I made the motion.
1 through 2. Yes, excuse me, it's item 1 through 2 and 2 through 8, excluding 6.
Yes, I've made that motion with pulling 6 for continuation for discussion.
Right, is there a second to that?
This is Peggy.
We'll second that.
Madam Chair, this is Director Ward.
Yes.
Madam Chair, Director Ward, I agree with you in the way that you were proceeding, and respectfully, Mr. Voigt's motion does muddy the waters because I was going to pull item number 4 on the Foothill calendar.
Okay,
you
so
still can.
That's my problem. Okay, so this is what we're going to do, if you don't mind. We're going to finish up the San Joaquin calendar and finish 6. We're getting close to conclusion. I will make sure that I entertain a motion that's clarified. We'll have a second and clarified, and we'll take a motion on item 6 for San Joaquin, and then we're going to Foothill. So is there any more discussion from San Joaquin on item 6? We do have a motion to continue this. There's not a date certain, and there's a second to that motion. Is there any discussion on that motion for item 6 for San Joaquin? Will you please call the roll?
Chair Kelly,
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill,
Yes.
Director Bain,
Yes.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Connors,
Yes.
Director Hess,
Yes.
Director Minigar,
Yes.
Director Munting,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Shea,
Yes.
Director Stevens,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Vic Zorich,
Yes.
and Director Wagner.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
So that vote passes unanimously on San Joaquin. Now we're going to Foothill Eastern consent calendar. These are items
Madam
1
Chair?
through 2 and 4. Excuse me 1 minute. Let me finish this if you don't mind, and then I'll call on you, okay? So items 1 through 2, 4 through 8, I will pull item 6 for separate discussion. All matters listed under the consent calendar are considered routine and will be enacted by a 1 vote of each board for applicable agency items. There'll be no discussion of these items unless board members request specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Is there a motion to move items 1 through 2 4 through 8, excluding item 6 at this point in time.
Director Voigt from Lake Forest, I would like to move those items and with continuation on item number 6. But I think those other board members would like to pull too.
Right.
Lucille
Sorry,
Klein, I'll
I missed
second
that. Okay, so there is a motion and a second to move it, but I do recall that Director Ward wanted to pull item 4. Is that correct?
Yes, item 4 I've been pulling.
Okay, so item 4 is pulled, item 6 is pulled. Any other items want to be pulled before we take a vote on the remaining of the consent calendar? With that, we have a motion and a second for the remaining of the consent calendar, which would be 1 through 2 and 5 through 8, excluding 6. Right?
5 through 7.
Well, we pulled 4, we pulled 6. It's the remaining of the consent calendar. We have a motion and a second. Would you please call the roll?
Director Shea,
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett. Vice Chair Puckett. Mike, yeah. Yeah, it's on. Okay, come back to him. Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Beal,
Aye.
Director Chafee,
Yes.
Director Wong,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Krink,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Voigt,
Yes.
Director Wagner,
Aye.
Director Ward,
Aye.
and I'll try one more time. Vice Chair Puckett.
Yes.
Okay. We have unanimous vote, yes.
Okay, thank you. So now we have 2 items that we have pulled, 4 and 6. We'll go to item 4. Staff report, please.
This is
Valerie.
Valerie.
Want to share any thoughts, and then we'll go to Director Ward.
Sure. This is Valerie McFall, Chief Environmental Planning Officer for the agencies. The item before you today for consideration is a extension of a 3-year memorandum of understanding with Cal State University Fullerton, the Center for Demographic Research. The agencies utilize CDR to put together forecasts for housing, employment, and other growth projections that are combined in conjunction with other member agencies, including the OCTA, the County of Orange, and water districts. We're able to, using CDR, they're able to fine tune Orange County's information and provide that information directly to SCAG as they prepare their regional forecasts for our region. This information is critical to the agency, so our information is directly representative of Orange County's data versus having another entity such as SCAG prepare Orange County's information that may not be as up to date as what CDR prepares. So the recommendation before you today is for the Foothill Eastern to spend $165,751. That would be spent over a 3-year term. The payments would be paid quarterly each year.
Thank you, Valerie. And now we'll turn to Director Ward.
Okay, so, you know, I saw this 3 years ago when it came up, and it's a lot of money. It's $165,000, almost $166,000 per agency. So it's $331,000 for both agencies for the 3 years. I do understand that we are in this with other agencies such as OCTA, SCAG, OCOG, and the county. I'm wondering if you said something about, you know, we get our data directly then, and we don't have to get it through SCAG. So I'm wondering if OCTA, as part of the OCOG, they're getting the information directly, that we wouldn't get the information anyway. I'm wondering why what is the purpose of us having a spot on this? Because I noticed we are a sponsoring agency on this because we are not one of the planning agencies, I think. And what I remember is I think we have a seat at the table. We have one vote. And so I'm wondering if that's the whole purpose in doing this, is having that vote. And I'm just wondering what that gets the agencies.
Well, the information that TCA uses it for, and why it's important for TCA to contribute as well as the other agencies, is that SCAG relies on the growth forecasts that are prepared by CDR in preparation of their regional transportation plan. And it allows the county as a whole, including TCA, to have a consistent input into the regional planning process. And if the CDR isn't fully funded, then the onus would be put on each individual city in the county to have to negotiate their own plans and forecasts with SCAG directly. By continuing the memorandum of understanding with TCA as a contributing member, we're able to do it as a collective body and provide the information directly to SCAG. OCOG assists us. They also participate in providing information to SCAG. But it's really CDR that is used to put together the Orange County projections, which TCA uses for our transportation planning. If we are for our facilities, also any congestion management, development fees, and then whether or not there's any demands for other infrastructures, facilities within the county. TCA does have a seat at the table that helps guide and review the materials that are prepared, such as the Orange County projections, the OCP reports that is produced by CDR. And again, these services used to be funded years ago until Orange County had its bankruptcy. And then these member agencies got together because they saw a need for these services to be continued. And so this MOU allows for those services to continue on as they have been, because they are so critical. And especially right now, given the changes that are occurring not only in the housing market and the economy, CDR is going to be critical to provide that direct input, not only to our agency, but up to SCAG, as SCAG starts to develop their next regional growth forecast and their regional transportation plan.
Okay.
Any further questions, Director Ward?
Yes, I see that every agency pays the same amount, the $331,000. So we're all equally sharing that cost. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Valerie? Okay.
She couldn't hear me?
No, she said yes.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, okay, I just, we need to, I understand what you're saying. I'm just hoping that we're just not paying so that we have a seat at the table, because I'm not sure what input I know we get some benefits from it, but I'm not sure what input we actually put into it. But I do hear that you said something about air quality. We need to have input on that. But as far as the growth forecast and all of that, that comes externally. So, okay. Well, I'll move the item. It's just something that I wanted to keep track of, because it is a lot of money.
Sure.
Okay, there is a motion by Director Ward. Is there a second?
I will second.
Is there a second? Okay, it's seconded by Director Wong. Is there any further discussion on item 4? You want to call the roll?
Chair Shay?
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett?
Yes.
Director Bartlett?
Yes.
Director Beal?
Yes.
Director Chafee?
Yes.
Director Wong?
Yes.
Director Kelly?
Yes.
Director Crane?
Yes.
Director Miller?
Yes.
Director Murphy?
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Voigt, Director Voigt,
Yes.
Director Wagner,
Aye.
and Director Ward.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Thank you, Clerk. So now we're going to move to item 6, which we've already had a very robust discussion, unless you want to continue it for some time. Are there any questions from the Foothill Eastern Board of Directors on item 6?
Madam Chair,
If there's
this is
not,
Mark
is there a
Murphy.
motion?
Yeah, I move the item be continued.
Okay,
I'll
there's a
second that,
motion.
Director Miller.
Okay, Director Miller seconds it. Is there any further discussion on item 6? Please call the roll.
Would be to remind staff that Stantec has to make sure they have the correct map, the most up-to-date for their forecast.
I'm sorry, you were kind of muffled. So is this Director Ward?
Yes, it is. I'm sorry. My only comment would be, that remind staff that Stantec needs to be reminded to have the most up-to-date maps so that they provide the most up-to-date models to the board.
Someone's talking in the background. Okay, so
I can hear. It's not from me.
I know it isn't. Is that okay with the maker of the motion, Mark? Are you okay with adding that just to make sure their maps are up to date?
Sure, it's just a note to staff. That's fine.
Okay, great. And there is a second by Director Miller. Thank you, Director Ward. At this time, we'll call for a roll call vote.
Chair Shea,
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett, Vice Chair Puckett,
Yes. Yes.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Bartlett, yep. Director Beal,
Yeah.
Director Chafee,
No.
Director Wong,
Aye.
Director Wong,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Crean,
Yes.
Director Miller,
Aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Voigt,
Yes.
Director Wagner,
Aye.
Director Ward.
Aye.
Vote passes 14-1.
Okay, thank you so very much. We had no discussion and the worries are not realized. So we'll now move to board business, which is items 9 through 12, understanding that item 10 has been continued. Again, this is a presentation only for both boards, for San Joaquin and for Foothill. I will now turn this COVID-19 impacts presentation over to Amy Potter.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, Amy Potter, Chief Financial Officer. So I will be providing the board with an update on the agency's finances, and then Samuel Johnson, Chief Toll Operations Officer, will provide an update on the operational aspects related to COVID-19 impact. This finance update was presented to the Joint Finance and Investment Committee last week, and additional briefings have been provided to the newly formed COVID-19 Ad Hoc Committee. Although we are in unprecedented times with a great deal of uncertainty as to the severity and duration of these impacts, the proactive steps that staff and the boards have taken over the last several years have placed the agency's finances in a very strong position. So I will walk through all the details of where we are today. So right now I am on slide 6, an overview of recent events. And I know that you're You're all very well aware of the concerns that have fueled this volatility in the economy, as well as in the capital market. And the municipal market was essentially shut down on March 19th. And really what had happened in the market is that the fears surrounding this pandemic led to a severe liquidity issue in the market. And while Treasury rates have dropped as a result of that flight to quality, corporates and municipals have seen either yields increase significantly and or buyers withdraw completely from the market and not purchase those investments. Additionally, credit spreads on those investments, so the rate of interest that you would pay over the Treasury rate, has materially widened in both the taxable and the municipal market. And so, for instance, the transaction that we just recently completed for Foothill Eastern in December is something that we would not be able to complete in this market today. And if we were able to sell those bonds, it would be at a higher rate than what we were able to achieve when we issued those in December. However, we are seeing some signs of recovery in the market in reaction to the federal monetary and fiscal policy initiatives that have been put into place. But we are still seeing very small transactions come forth with very highly rated credits. So as we mentioned in the earlier item, TCA has been actively evaluating our impact on the traffic and assessing those potential actions that the agencies could take in response if necessary. One of the things that's a real plus for us is that we are all electronic tolling, and the entities, the tolling entities that still collect cash have really been impacted to a greater degree. For instance, they've had to furlough all of their toll collectors, and then it puts a greater burden on their revenue as well. So that's a plus for us. Also, as I mentioned, based on the proactive steps that we have taken over the last number of years, starting with the refinance transactions for Foothill Eastern in 2013, and then San Joaquin Hills in 2014, and all of the board's actions following that. We are very well positioned from a liquidity standpoint, and that was also noted by Fitch when they confirmed our ratings, and I will discuss the rating agencies in just a moment in more detail. Neither of our agencies is required to sell bonds at this time, so even though all of those market conditions are very concerning right now, we do not have to be worried about entering the market. But we will continue to monitor the market and look for potential opportunities to reduce our debt further, similar to what we did with the Foothill Eastern transaction. Next slide, please. So the rating agencies have placed the entire transportation sector on a negative outlook, but they are taking very different approaches to individual issuers. Fitch has taken an approach where they have actually reviewed all of the individual issuers, all of their credit, and run some various stress scenarios. And so we've already gone through that process with Fitch. We worked with them and gave them all of the necessary information, and they have affirmed the ratings of both the San Joaquin Hills and Foothill Eastern, and kept the outlook as stable. S&P basically placed the entire sector on negative outlook, and they issued a report. So we were included in that report along with all of the other issuers, indicating an outlook revision to negative. Moody's has placed the entire sector on negative. However, they have not done it on an individual credit or issuer basis. So they've not issued a report changing our outlook in particular. They are just looking at it on a sector basis. They're being a little more circumspect about this process, and they think that it's wise to maybe do a little wait and see. So they will continue on and start to review individual credits as necessary. Next slide. So before I update you on some of the details, I think it's important to walk through some of the bond indenture covenants that we will need to meet both this year, fiscal year ending June 30th, as well as in developing our budget for next year. And so highlighted here on this slide 8, one of the main requirements that we need to meet in setting our budget. And so for both agencies, prior to the commencement of each fiscal year, it will fix and prescribe toll rates so that adjusted net toll revenues for such fiscal year are forecasted to be at least equal to 1.3 times the annual debt service on the senior lien bonds. And then on Foothill Eastern, we have a requirement as well for all of our bonds, the seniors and the juniors, of 1.15 times. And then that requirement on San Joaquin Hills is 1.1 times. Just the net toll revenues means all of our toll revenues and the related revenues minus our operating expenses need to be at least those 1.3 times on the senior and et cetera on the on all bonds. We also have a requirement at the end of the year to meet that service coverage requirement. And when we do that end of the year calculation, we look at what is called enhanced adjusted net toll revenues. And that is the same as adjusted net toll revenues, although we add in development impact fees received in excess of $5 million during the year. Next slide. So here now we're on slide 9, and this is really looking at the traffic impacts that we have seen since this COVID impact started to begin. And this is really a screenshot of what we show on our website. We show the weekly transactions on each of the roads. We also have a lot of other data on the website as well that investors use on a regular basis. That includes monthly, annual, et cetera. But here, this is a good way to demonstrate what has happened in response to this COVID situation. And so what we've seen is that as the COVID-19 measures increased, our traffic declined further. And so the way that these charts work is that you have Foothill Eastern on top and San Joaquin Hills on the bottom. And at the bottom of each of those charts is the oldest week. And so that is really when we first started looking at the situation. And so the week ended March 8th shows traffic that is pretty representative of how, or the number of transactions that we had been receiving throughout the rest of the year. Then when you move up the chart, you see the next week, March 15th. And what happened then is the schools had started to close. And so we started to see a pretty significant decline in our transactions at that point. And then the following week ended March 22nd. That's when a lot of the businesses began to telework. And so we saw a further decline. And then you see the week ended March 29th. And that was after the governor's order and additional businesses began to telework. And so from that period of March 8th through March 29th, we saw decreases in our traffic on Foothill Eastern of approximately 63% and on San Joaquin Hills, 74%. We included the following week, which was last week, ended April 5th, to show you that it looks like it may have leveled out. And so you can see that that week is fairly consistent with the week previous to it. We have seen some declines this week, but they may be related to heavy rains that we've had. So we will continue to monitor that, but we may be at more of the bottom at this point. Next slide, please. So now I'll walk you through what we're seeing for our current fiscal year that will be ending June 30th and what impact this has. So while we expect the COVID-19 to continue to impact our traffic and revenue, we are well positioned to meet our covenants in the current year. And as I mentioned, that's the actions that the board has taken over the last number of years have really placed us in a strong financial position. And so as of February, or the end of February, the Foothill Eastern has already met its bond indenture requirement, its coverage requirement that I had gone over at the beginning of this presentation for the year ended June 30th, or ending June 30th, 2020. The San Joaquin Hills as of February 2020 was at 95% of that requirement. And so only needing about $5.6 million for the months March through June. And based on the preliminary results for March, San Joaquin is there as well. Next slide. So our fiscal year 21 budget process becomes a little more complicated because, as we were discussing earlier, no one knows the severity or duration of these impacts. And so this is where we will be working through and analyzing, all of the, we've been working with the traffic and revenue consultant, our financial advisors we've been also having discussions with our peers across the country, with other tolling entities, looking at various views. And as discussed earlier, the common theme is that no one really knows where this will end. And so what we, as discussed earlier, what we've been preparing to do is look at ranges of potential outcomes. Yes, we will need to set our budget by June 30th, so we will have to make some assumption, as discussed earlier. There are some numbers that we do know, and I can share with you at this point in time. Since we have all fixed rate debt, we know the amount of our debt service requirement for fiscal year 21.
Hold on 1 second. Can someone please mute their phone? We're getting a lot of feedback. Thank you.
Whoever just joined, please mute your.
Oh, they just joined?
Sounds like they did.
Who was that?
I couldn't catch.
Sorry, Amy, go ahead. It was someone joined in and we couldn't tell who it was. Thank you.
All right. So for fiscal year 21, so we do have all fixed rate debt. So we know what our debt service requirement is for next budget year. On Foothill Eastern, that number is $104.6 million, and on San Joaquin Hills, it's $111.8 million. And so we know then that the minimum adjusted net toll revenue needed in fiscal year 21 in order to meet our covenant is $120.3 million for Foothill Eastern and $125.3 million for San Joaquin Hills. If the fiscal year 21 adjusted net toll revenue forecast is lower than those minimum rate covenants, then TCA, each of our agencies, could utilize a portion of its unrestricted cash to exclude a portion of the fiscal year 21 debt service payments from the coverage calculation. So essentially, we'll be paying for a portion of our debt service with cash if need be. Next slide, please. And so what you see here are the balances of our unrestricted cash and how they've been growing over the years. And so that after the refinancing transactions, the boards have made a concerted effort to build strong liquidity. And so you can see that growing there on the blue bars. And then as of February 2020, Foothill Eastern has approximately $400 million of unrestricted cash, and San Joaquin has approximately $280 million of unrestricted cash. So we have very strong liquidity, which has been a plus, and that was also something that had been cited by the rating agencies. We also have our bond indentured reserve, which totals $244 million on Foothill Eastern and $295 million on San Joaquin Hills. But these are amounts that we would not want to touch. So they sit there, they're in place for if we had no other liquidity and no other cash available, And if we couldn't make our bond payments, then these amounts would kick in. So we do not anticipate utilizing those. Next slide, please. And so once again, just to emphasize the advantage that we have currently in meeting all of our financial obligations is that we have had strong traffic growth coming out of the recession, and we've also taken all of those steps over the last years. The board has been very diligent in ensuring that we are in a strong financial position with the consistent toll increases, the funding of the reserves, and then also the strategic refinancings that we've been able to complete. Neither of our agencies, as I mentioned, has any immediate needs to access the capital market. That's another plus. And while it's difficult to predict the long-term impacts, our continued financial prudence and proactive action will be viewed favorably by the rating agencies and the investor community. Next slide. And in summary, the financial markets do appear to be stabilizing. As I mentioned, traffic volumes and revenues may show significant declines in coming months, but we have had strong traffic and revenue growth in the first month of the fiscal year. And so, as I mentioned, we are well positioned to meet our covenants for fiscal year 20. Also, with the agency's strong cash position and all of the other strategic things that we have done, we are in very good shape in order to meet all of our obligations through next year and through the coming years. As we develop that fiscal year 21 budget, we have some available options to us to meet our covenants, as I mentioned, mainly our strong liquidity, our cash position that we have. And currently, since there are no deals that we need to enter in the market, we don't need to worry about that. However, we will continue to work with the rating agencies as they continue to reassess all of the credits, and we will also continue to manage our financial position and monitor the market for opportunities to lower our costs. Next slide. And so we will continue to work through some projections. So the first slide obviously was changed a little bit right now, but we will continue to work on those projections and bring them forth to the various committees. We're also going to be presenting various revenue and expense elements of our draft budget through the committees and the budget workshop that's scheduled for this month. And so really, essentially what happened is we had a budget that we were developing prior to this whole COVID-19 incident, and then it's essentially being rethought through the entire budget. And so that's why we'll be coming back to all the committees with the various assumptions that we would propose and ask for input from those committees. Obviously, all of our expenditures will be reduced to coincide with the revenue assumptions, and staff will continue to provide regular updates to the board of directors. So that concludes the finance portion of this presentation.
Thank you, Amy. I appreciate your update. We are in a difficult time right now, but thank goodness we've been able to have enough reserves to carry us through. But let me reach out to board members now, one at a time. If you've announced your name, who would like to speak or ask any questions? No questions? Geez, that's kind of exciting. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Amy. I appreciate that. And we'll now move. I thought we'd have a lot of questions. Now we're going to move to item 10 has been, and that was just presentation only. Item 10, the next was state legislative status report. That's going to be, that's continued.
Part of this presentation, that was the finance. Now Samuel will do the operation.
Oh, I'm sorry. Samuel, I didn't mean to overlook you. You go right ahead, Samuel.
That's okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, Mike. So I'm just going to provide a short brief on some of the information we shared with the COVID-19 Ad Hoc Committee related to our operational response to the pandemic. First and foremost, I'm happy to share that none of the TCA staff nor our contractors are currently reporting any health impacts related to the virus. So I think that's good news for all of us. But as you are all experiencing in your cities, significant effort is required to address the health and safety needs of our teams and our customers while ensuring continuity of operation. The TCA team has relied heavily on our IT staff to provide for this continuity, for our administrative functions, board and committee meetings, and to ensure that the total operations team can continue to process transactions and collect and reconcile revenues that drive the sound financial picture that Amy just covered. The biggest part of our challenge, of course, surrounded the closing of the Pacifica building and creating social distancing through a virtual environment for the 130 or so essential staff located here in Irvine, and also revising our operational procedures to maintain our standards for data security. The overnight transformation of our customer service functions to allow certain functions to be performed in a telework model was definitely challenging and required our IT staff to put in some long hours over multiple days while dealing with their own health concerns. Next slide. In addressing this challenge, we were able to leverage and accelerate strategies and contract models we had already put in place with the board's support. The first of these that provided immediate value was when we closed the walk-in center, as we were able to redirect our customers to our capable website and mobile app, which saw a sizable usage increase and has been useful in reducing call volume. A second piece was the enhancements we made to the legacy back office system and our telephone system in order to integrate them into a single computer and eliminate the use of a physical phone handset. This, along with some other additional security enhancements, allowed us to transfer a computer from the office to an individual's home, connected to the internet, and let them work as if they were in the office. Another piece was our cloud migration strategy and use of software as a service model to support mobile access and reduce internal support costs. The ability for TCA staff to process board and committee agendas remotely and to collaborate and stay virtually connected through video conferencing without management of additional hardware and software has been very successful. The last beneficial piece was the board's recent approval of our telecommunications service contract, which was a bit innovative. It included the ability for us to dynamically scale our internet connection if needed. And we put this to use, and it allowed us to triple our capacity overnight and support this new virtual environment. The combined pieces have allowed the agency to rapidly stand up and continue its operations with minimal disruption. We currently have about 100 of the Faneuil team members working remotely through a call center function, receiving and initiating calls and performing other duties. We also have about 60 folks working in our Sacramento call center and about 15 folks working out of our Tomato Springs toll plaza, with both of these locations supporting social distancing requirements and requiring daily health check questionnaires. This level of staffing has allowed us to address the brief challenges we had with call wait times and the declines we saw in customer satisfaction. We had begun to process and address backlog work, which could only be done at our facilities. Right now we're caught up with payment processing, but some of our other aspects, such as dealing with rental car vehicles, and transponder fulfillment, are taking a little longer, as some of the Faneuil staff wanted to adhere strictly to the shelter-in-place recommendation and chose to take leave without pay. Next step. Next slide. So in terms of next steps, we are continuing to be cautious and exploring contingency options for our Sacramento location, as well as the use of additional toll plazas such as Windy Ridge and Catalina View to be able to, in order to be able to house small groups of staff. Our next challenge will come in light of the economic downturn and kind of what Amy shared. We are reassessing our staffing needs for the reduced work volumes in a very mindful and thoughtful manner. Faneuil is already doing schedule spreading, but a reduction in force is necessary. So most of this reduction in force will be in our Sacramento office. But late last night, we were able to get Faneuil's agreement that they would hold and offer jobs for that they have for another program that is ramping up. They will hold those jobs for the 40 or so people that will probably have to be laid off in Sacramento. So we're very excited to be able to tell those folks we have an option for them to be able to continue work during this crisis. We don't have an alternative solution for Irvine yet, which is also likely to have a reduction of about 20 staff. But Faneuil is working diligently to identify resources their employees can tap into. So as we work through these near-term challenges, we're also giving a lot of thought to our forecast and budget requests for next year, as Amy highlighted. Now, while some of our variable costs do correlate with traffic and revenue, some do not, and they are driven by customer behavior. And unfortunately, we don't have a solid baseline for estimating this, but we're going to learn a lot more over the next 2 months and incorporate those experiences into our planning. And then we plan to keep the board appraised through the COVID-19 ad hoc, as well as the Joint Toll Operations Committee, and report back to the board as necessary. And that concludes my report, Madam Chair.
Thank you so much, Samuel. I very much appreciate your update, and I'm sorry I stepped over you, but in this environment, when I don't see you, it's easy to do that. But I will call on board members. Any comments or questions of Samuel? If not, that way, now we will move to thank both of you, Lisa, Amy, and Samuel. We appreciate your update, and now we will, that was this presentation. Now we're going to go to item 10, which has been continued, and then we will move to item 11, which is the Oso Parkway Ramp Axle Counting Technology, and this is for Foothill Eastern only. Rick Carrier.
Good morning. I'm Rick Carrier, the Director of Technical Systems. This item is a request to install axle counting technology in a few ramp lanes. This item was unanimously approved for presentation to the board by the Joint Toll Operations Committee at their March meeting. Next slide, please. For some background, there are 28 ramp lanes on the Foothill Eastern Corridor, and all vehicles at a ramp are charged the same toll rate. There are 22 mainline lanes where, unlike the ramp lanes, the toll is determined by the number of axles on the vehicle. 2-axle vehicles pay one rate, 3- and 4-axle vehicles pay a higher rate, and vehicles with 5 or more axles pay the highest rate. There are 4 locations on the Foothill Eastern Corridors where vehicles with more than 2 axles can avoid the higher mainline rate by using the ramp lanes that are adjacent to the mainline toll point. Next slide, please. This picture of the Oso Bridge project is a good example of what I'm talking about. The boxes underlined in green show the mainline tolling points where vehicles are charged by axle. The boxes underlined in orange show the ramps where vehicles can avoid the axle counting technology in the mainline lane. As you can see, if we leave the ramp toll rate flat regardless of axle count, vehicles with more than 2 axles can save between $2.50 up to $7.50 by using the ramps to go around the mainline toll point. Would our customers actually do this? Well, we have another mainline tolling point where this is currently happening. Next slide, please. This is a depiction of the Irvine Ranch Toll Plaza. For those who are not familiar with the 261, the Irvine Ranch Toll Plaza is located between Irvine Boulevard to the south and Portola Parkway to the north. Tolls on the main line are axle-based, but the ramp tolls are flat rate regardless of the number of axles. In 2019, we had approximately 6,800 customers who exited the 261 before the mainline toll point, went to the top of the ramp, waited at the red light, and then crossed either Irvine Boulevard or Portola Parkway and re-entered the 261 from the on-ramp. As Director Connors observed during the Joint Toll Ops Committee meeting, this is a loophole in our system that some of our customers have figured out how to exploit. Installing axle counting technology in the on-ramps would enable the agencies to close that loophole by making the ramp toll rates the same as the main line. Next slide, please. Having axle counting capabilities in the ramps that are adjacent to the mainline toll points will help ensure equity among all of our customers and avoid having large trucks cross surface streets from the off-ramp to the on-ramp. Staff is proposing to install the technology in the OSO ramps in conjunction with the work that is currently underway in the mainline lane. Installation at the Irvine Ranch location would be determined by the results of a traffic analysis. Next slide. Staff recommends that the Board of Directors authorize the CEO to execute an amendment to the transport contract for a not-to-exceed amount of $220,200 with a 5% contingency for installation of axle counting technology at the Oso Parkway and Irvine Ranch on and off-ramp toll point. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Rick. Before we go to questions by board members, we do have a joint toll-up committee report by committee chair Janine Happ. Janine, do you want to provide that update for the board?
Yes, thank you. I think I was supposed to do an introduction, but I'll go ahead and I'll take it from here. Yeah, thank you, Madam Chairwoman. Just wanted to let everyone know staff presented this item to the Joint Toll Operations Committee back on March 25th, I think right before the world started to fall apart. And the Toll Operations Committee, they had a thorough discussion with several members, and there were concerns expressed about the loophole practices by these large trucks, such as trash haulers and construction contractors using the toll roads. And it was noted that the board's toll policy assesses a higher rate to these vehicles due to the greater wear and tear that they generate on the roads. They're obviously a lot bigger than your average vehicle. And in addition to revenue loss, I think it's very important to note that the vehicles exploiting this loophole, they create additional traffic at intersections and a lot of potential safety concerns. This is something we discussed a lot. There are cities that are liable for this if there are accidents or any type of safety issues that end up, hurting someone or causing accidents. And as noted in the staff report, the committee also discussed the cost-benefit ratio and the timing of when it was best to proceed. We were looking at both Oso and Irvine. And obviously the COVID-19, issue has impacted a lot of things, and traffic has dramatically decreased because of that, as we've been talking about this whole time. So committee members noted that there was a benefit to install the equipment for Oso because construction is going on right now. The main line is being constructed, but then there was a lot of hesitancy when it came down to the Irvine Ranch location. After a lot of discussion, the consensus was that the contract would be amended to include both locations, but it would provide that the implementation would only occur at Irvine Ranch if and when staff determined it to be beneficial to TCA. So OSO would continue because the construction was already going on. And the item passed unanimously. Madam Chairman, that concludes my remarks, and I would like to move this item if there's no discussion.
Well, we could take a motion and a second and then open for discussions. There's a motion by Director Haft. Is there a second?
And by
second. Okay, I'm sorry, Trish Kelly beat you to it, Director Puckett, but we'll get you next time. So there's a motion and a second on the floor. Now we will open up for any questions or discussions by board members. And this again is for Foothill only, so there is a motion and a second. Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Director Shea?
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett?
Yes.
Director Beal?
Yes.
Director Chafee?
Aye.
Director Wong,
Aye.
Director Crane,
Sorry, aye.
Director Crane,
Aye.
Director Miller,
Aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Voigt,
Yes.
Director Ward,
Can someone mute their phone? We're getting a lot of bad feedback. If you don't mind, thank you. Can someone mute their phone?
It was whoever was last.
Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead.
all right. Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
and Director Wagner.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much. That was good. We're moving right along. Now we're going to item 12, which is temporary COVID-12 public meeting policy. We do have a report from our Joint Strategic Planning Committee Chair, Peggy Wong, if you want to share, and then we'll go to the staff report.
Sure. I'll make it very brief. As COVID-19 has changed the world as we know it, and the governor has lifted a lot of the restriction on the Brown Act, and as a result, we came the Joint Strategic Committee support the policy for conference calls and internet-based meeting as we are proceeding today, as well as the various rules for submitting public comments. Today's meeting, we see the implementation of these rules. These rules will only be in effect during the COVID-19 pandemic, and these rules will be lifted, and we'll go back to our regular rules and procedures once the pandemic, the governor lifts its order. So that's all I have for today, and these procedures did pass unanimously from our Joint Strategic Committee.
Thank you, Director Wong. At this time, I want to remind the board members this is a joint item of the San Joaquin and Foothill board members, So at this time, I'll turn to staff report by Mike Chesney. Mike.
Yes, good morning, Chair Shea. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great, thank you, Chair Shea and members of the board. Mike Chesney, Chief Strategy Officer of PCA, and Director Wong summed it up for us. Next slide, please. I am on slide 28, and as Director Wong indicated, we did review this public meeting policy with the Joint Strategic Planning Committee on March 26th. And it was based on the governor's executive orders, N2520 and N2920. Those both are, by the way, attached to the staff report in your packet. And this was done in a concerted effort to reduce our physical density in our public meetings, and to also leverage technology and remote work options to allow us to continue our public meeting while protecting board and agency personnel and the public. Next slide, please. I've gone ahead and put the policy, which again is in your board packet, on the next two slides, number 29 and 30. I'll quickly read it. On March 12th, 2020 and March 18th, 2020, Governor Newsom enacted executive orders N2520 and N2920, authorizing a local legislative body to hold public meetings via teleconferencing and make public meetings accessible telephonically or electronically to all members of the public, promote social distancing, state of emergency resulting from the threat of novel coronavirus. In accordance with Executive Order N2020, and in order to ensure the safety of members of staff and for the purposes of limiting risk.
Hey, everybody needs to be on mute. I can't hear Joe. I can't hear.
I can't hear anything.
Can you hear me now?
Okay, so Mike, are you done with your presentation?
He's still going.
You're still going. Is
I
Mike
was
still in
reading
the
the
middle?
policy. I was reading the policy.
Excuse me, Mike Munzing, Mike Chesney's still not finished with his presentation, and then we'll go to board comments, if that's okay.
I was saying I couldn't hear. There was a lot of background noise, and we could not hear Mike Chesney anymore. Right.
Oh, okay, thank you for that update. I appreciate it. Sometimes I'm hearing some noise as well, so it's not here in this board, but if it is on your phone, will you please make sure you mute your phone? And then I apologize for that. Mike, would you continue?
Sure will.
Chesney.
Yes, Chair Shea. And so finishing up slide 29, the in-person public participation at public meetings of the Transportation Corridor Agencies will not be allowed during the time period covered by the above referenced executive orders and amendments. Next slide, thank you. Instead, members of the public may participate remotely by getting onto the Toll Roads website and the broadcast of the Board of Directors meetings and standing committee meetings. And as was evidenced today, any public comments may be submitted for upcoming board and committee meetings by emailing them to the web address that's shown. And comments submitted no later than 1 hour before the start of the committee meetings will be read at the meeting. All comments submitted will be part of the public record and distributed to the board or committee members for their consideration. And then reading the comments shall be limited to 3 minutes, approximately 500 words per person, and 20 minutes for all comments, unless the chair, subject to the approval of the board or committee, sets different time limit. Next slide. So the action, Chair Shea, is simply to approve the temporary public policy that was adopted through the Joint Strategic Planning Committee for both boards.
Thank you so much. Is that your completion of your report, Mike Chesney?
That is, Chair Shea. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So I want now to open this up for discussion of directors. Are there any questions from San Joaquin or Foothill? It is a joint discussion point. Okay, if none, let's go first to San Joaquin, and I need a motion and a second to move this forward. Is there a motion from San Joaquin?
I'll move it.
I move the recommended action.
Okay, so the motion. Okay, so let's see. So Trish Kelly made the motion. Cynthia, you made the second. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, there's a motion and a second. Will you please call the roll for San Joaquin?
Chair Kelly?
Yes.
Vice Chair O'Neill? Vice Chair O'Neill? Okay. Director Bain?
Yes.
Director Connors?
Yes.
Director Heff?
Yes.
Director Minigar?
Yes.
Director Stevens? Director Stevens?
Director Stevens?
Director Vixort?
Yes.
Director Bartlett?
Yes.
Director Penaloza?
Yes.
Director Shea?
Yes.
Director Taylor?
Yes.
Director Wagner?
Aye.
And I'll try one more time. Director Stevens? Okay. Vote passes unanimously for San Joaquin, absent of Stevens.
Thank you so much. At this time, we'll move to Foothill Eastern. I need a motion and a second.
Madam Chair, this is Mike Munzing. I was never asked to vote on that last vote, by the way.
Oh,
For San
Oh,
Joaquin.
you were not called for San Joaquin? I'm sorry.
Director Munzing for the...
Okay, Munzing, your vote?
Aye. Okay.
Sorry that it was missed. Okay, now we're going to Foothill, and we have a motion. from Lucille Crean. Is there a second?
Second from Scott Voigt, Lake Forest.
Okay, Scott Voigt proposed the second. Is there any further discussion on this item for Foothill? We will now call the roll.
Chair Shea,
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett,
Yes.
Director Beal,
Aye.
is that aye? Director Chafee,
Aye.
Director Wong,
Aye.
Director Crean,
Aye.
Director Miller,
Aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Voigt, Director
Yes.
Voigt,
Yes.
okay. Director Ward,
Aye.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Wagner.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
That's wonderful. That completes item 12. But let me say we have a little glitch. We're going back to item 11, and though we so appreciate the enthusiasm of Director Janine Heft, she made the motion and she's not part of Foothill. So we have to take another motion and a second from members just of Foothill Board on this item. So can we have a revote
Madam-
on item 11? Yes.
Madam Chair, on behalf of Foothill, this is Scott Boyce from Lake Forest. I'd like to move item number 11 then.
Director
Second.
Bartlett.
Thank you so much. And the second came from?
Director Bartlett.
Director Bartlett. Okay, there is a reconsideration here of the item from Scott Boyd's director and Lisa Bartlett. We'll just call the roll one more time. We apologize that we went over this, but it was just a small little glitch and excitement by Janine Heft.
All right. Chair Shea,
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett,
Yes.
Director Bartlett,
Yes.
Director Beal,
Yes.
Director Chafee,
Aye.
Director Wong,
Aye.
Director Kelly,
Yes.
Director Crean,
Aye.
Director Miller,
Aye.
Director Murphy,
Yes.
Director Penaloza,
Yes.
Director Taylor,
Yes.
Director Voigt,
Yes.
Director Wagner,
Aye.
and Director Ward.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Wonderful. And thank you all for your patience. I really appreciate it. I know we've had a few glitches, and I've been want to just say I really appreciate everybody working with us. And so now we're moving to public comments. It's our second continued part of public comments. At this time, any remaining public comments submitted no later than 1 hour before the start of the board meeting will read members of the public, meeting will be read members. Somehow, whoever wrote this, we've got to fix that. Of the public may address the boards regarding any items within the subject matter jurisdiction of the boards, but no action may be taken on off-agenda items unless authorized by law. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes, approximately 500 words per person, unless different time limits are set by the chair, subject to the approval of the board. I want to turn to the clerk. I know I had an email sent to me a little while ago that one member said that they were not heard under item 10. Though we pulled it, I would still subscribe to the point that I think they have a right to have their comments read. Is there anyone else?
No, the only public comment I've received is Amanda Quintanilla to read now.
Okay, so we'll be reading that. We apologize, Amanda, for somehow we missed that public comment, but we will read it into the record at this point in time.
I will begin reading now. Dear Chair, Christina Shea, I hope this email finds you well. I am wondering why the Transportation Corridor Agencies is opposing Senator Pat Bates' bill, SB 1373, and Assembly Member Bill Burrow's bill, AB 3331. According to the TCA's agenda packet of April 9th, 2019, in Agenda 10, the San Joaquin Hills TCA Board and the Foothill Eastern TCA Board will vote to oppose these two bills. Within the file number, it states that AB 3331 and SB 1373 are unnecessary and potentially harmful to the advancement of the three critical South Orange County projects collectively identified by the Transportation Corridor Agencies, the Orange County Transportation Authority, and the California Department of Transportation. Please tell me which three critical South Orange County projects is the TCA referring to. Item 10 of the TCA agenda contains the following action: adopt and oppose opposition of AB 3331 Borough State Highways State Route 241 reduction. Direct staff to submit a letter of opposition to AB 3331. Adopt and oppose position on SB 1373 Bates, Public Resources and Clemente Road Construction, and direct staff to submit a letter of opposition to SB 1373 Bates. On March 12, 2020, the Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor Agency Board of Directors adopted the South County Traffic Relief Effort Project Scoping Summary and Alternative Screening Report. It was determined that two routes should proceed, and they were Alternative 1, the no-build option, and Alternative 22, Untold, Los Patronos Parkway Untold Extension. These two alternatives would proceed for further consideration by the county, and that there would be no further TCA involvement. This was reiterated by Director Miller to address the concerns of San Clemente residents that still had some concerns at the March TCA Board of Directors meeting. The FETCA's vote concluded the TCA's involvement, and Director Miller reinforced this a couple of times, and he even asked Mr. Kramen to address as well. Please tell why is the TCA in opposition to SB 1373 and Assembly Member Burrow's AB 3231, since these bills were present prior to the Foothill Eastern Transportation Corridor Agency. Additionally, both Senator Pat Bates and Assembly Member Burrow have proposed these bills to address the needs of their constituents, and the TCA should not be involved in politics. That is a 3-minute timer. If you'd like me to continue, I can.
3 minutes unless you're close to the end, is there?
There's several more paragraphs.
Okay, so if you don't mind, we are at the end of the 3-minute period. We appreciate you sending in your comments. We're sorry that somehow we missed them at the beginning, but we were able to read the majority of your comments into the record. So thank you. At this time, we will conclude public comments, and we will go to Chief Executive Officer's report, Mike Kramen.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Directors. As you know, this is my last TCA board meeting with you. I've had the privilege and honor of serving as the agency's CEO since 2014. Thank you, directors, for this opportunity. The agencies have accomplished many important things over the past 6 years. I wish the best to these agencies, directors, staff, and the drivers of the toll roads. As all of you know, we have an excellent executive team and staff that will continue to perform their duties to meet today's challenges and keep this agency a success in the future. All my best to each of you during these critical times.
Thank you so much, Mike, for all your effort on behalf of this agency over the last many years. We so appreciate it. We will miss you, and I appreciate that report. At this time, we'll go to Director's Report and New Business Chair Patricia Kelly. Do you have anything to say?
Yes, I would just like to express my gratitude to Mr. Kramen for his leadership of this agency over the last 6 years. And I think one of today's charts certainly pointed out one of the successes that the agencies had under Mr. Kramen, and that was the chart that graphically showed the increase in unrestricted reserves. The financial strength of the agency has gone significantly up over the last 6 years. And we also saw a successful conclusion to the advancement of the Foothill South project, which will be going forward, as well as the 24191 merge. And so I think we can look back on many successes that the agency has enjoyed under Mr. Kramen's leadership the last 6 years. And so I would like to thank you for your service.
Thank you, Director Kelly. We appreciate your comments.
Director Voigt from Lake Forest.
Yes, please, go right ahead.
Yes, this is Director Voigt from Lake Forest. I would like to also, too, echo my gratitude and appreciation to Mr. Kramen for his leadership in the toll agency. Not only was he a wonderful director, but I consider him a friend. And I think that the success that we've had in TCA and for the commuters of Orange County speaks volumes on the success that he's had as a CEO. So I want to wish him my best. And I think that all of Orange County and the state of California is indebted to you, Michael, for your success in helping the commuters of Orange County better manage the expansion of our agency. So thank you so much for your efforts, and you're much appreciated, and we think you did a great job. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Voigt. Are there any other directors have any other comments at this time?
Yes, Director Bartlett.
Yes, Director Bartlett.
Thank you. I want to echo the comments of my colleagues. I know that when CEO Kramen took over, we had some challenges with the prior CEO, and we got through that very difficult time at the agency and really got the ship righted and moving on a great course. We have a number of significant accomplishments that my colleagues have mentioned. In addition, we also had the payoff of the unfunded pension liability, and there were a lot of great things that CEO Kramen led those initiatives and efforts through our staff and guided everyone to some great conclusions on projects that we wanted to move forward, whether it's the 24191 or the 3 great projects that will now move forward in South County that will be great for the long-term future of the South County residents and improving public safety and regional mobility. And I thank you for your leadership, Mr. Kramen, and guiding us over the years, and wish you best of luck in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Bartlett. Do we have any other directors that would like to share any thoughts or ideas with us right now?
Madam Chair, Director Miller.
I'm sorry, I hear Director Crean and then Director, who was that speaking?
Ward. Director Ward.
And Miller.
Okay, so we'll go to Director Crean, then Ward, then Miller. Thank you.
And Minigar.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
And then Minigar,
Mike,
yes.
you can. Okay, my turn. Okay, Mike, I want to echo what my colleagues just say. You have been a breath of fresh air for this agency. I consider you a friend, and your colleagues in the engineering community also consider you a very, very special person by all the awards that you've gotten over the years. And I'm not going to repeat all the accomplishments that you made, but this agency is better off because of your leadership. So I want to send you my best. I wish you every happiness in the future, and may God bless you and your family. Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Director Crean. Very nice words. Now we'll move to Director Ward.
Before I say thank you to Mike, I would like to make a correction of a comment that Director Kelly said. She said that it was Foothill South is going forward, and that needs to be corrected, that it is Los Patrones, an extension of Los Patrones Parkway that is going forward. So I'd like that corrected in the record. Would Director Kelly like to correct that?
You know, Director Ward, you sound like you've fallen into the ocean. Maybe you're out enjoying the day at the beach, but we can't hear you too well.
Okay, let me go forward. I took it off speakerphone. So I would like Director Kelly, the record to be corrected that she mentioned that it was successful that the Foothill South project was going forward. It is the Los Patrones Parkway project that is going forward. So I would like that corrected because that's incorrect of what the agency is doing. And so I'd also like to thank Mike. I enjoyed working with you. I'm sorry that I was off for the last year, so I missed some time, but I did enjoy working with you, and I wish you the best.
Thank you for your comments. At this time, we'll move to Director Miller, and then I forgot who was after Miller.
Minigar.
Minigar. I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Yes. Okay, we'll go to Director
Madam Chair, if I can after Director Minigar, this is Peggy.
Okay, so that's fine. Great.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say thanks to Mike. We spent a lot of time together over the last 5 years working on some very complex projects, and I really did enjoy our time that we spent together and worked on these. You know, you gave me a lot of good insight, and we got through a lot of tough issues. And just want to again extend my thanks for all the help you had, and give you, you know, just wish you best of luck in your future endeavors. I know whatever you do, it's going to be fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you, Director Miller. We'll now move to Director Minigar and then Peggy Wong.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to the services of our CEO, Mr. Mike Kramen. I've truly enjoyed working with Mr. Kramen, and I wish him, because of all his accomplishments that I cannot mention all of them. I want to thank Mr. Kramen for all his services. I wish you, Mr. Kramen, a great success as you start your next chapter of life. An outstanding civil engineer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Wong.
Yes, Mike, I just want to thank you for your service and that you were so courageous to put forth a sort of out of the box thinking when we went through the different alternatives for the Foothill extension, to be in the forefront of the agency to let the public be involved in the process rather than typically we do it the other way around where the agency pick the routes and then go out to the public. And I think that was a very much an out-of-box thinking where we can really engage the public from the beginning. And so I want to thank you for that, and good luck to you. I consider you're a friend, and I really enjoy working with you and wish you the very best.
Thank you, Director Wong. Are there any other comments from board members?
Yeah, Director.
Okay, with that. Oh, good. Hi, yes. Go, Director. Please, please continue.
Director Penaloza, correct?
Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just also wanted to extend my gratitude to Mike Kramen's leadership at TCA over the last couple of years. Thank you so much for all the good work that you've done. I know I've only been on the board for a little over a year, so didn't get to work with you as much as I would have liked and hoped. But just wish you the very best in all your future projects and just life in general. I'm sure you'll do great. So thank you so much, and that's it, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Director Penaloza. Any other comments?
Director Tony Beal.
Oh, yes, Director Beal, please.
Thank you very much. I wanted to convey my sincere thanks to Mike Kramen. In my opinion, the job of being the CEO of the TCA over the past 5 years, probably, if not the greatest, one of the most challenging roles in government here, at least in Orange County. And I think that the results of the TCA, as well as Mike's personal accomplishments and the awards that he has received, demonstrate that his tenure has been very successful here. It's personally been a pleasure to work with you, Mike. I congratulate you on your service here in the TCA and all of your accomplishments, and I send you my best wishes for continued success in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Director Beal. Any other comments?
Puckett.
Oh, yes, Director Puckett.
Yes.
Vice Chair Puckett.
Yes, Vice Chair Puckett. Thank you, Chair Shea. Mike, I just want to tell you that it has been an absolute pleasure and a delight to work with you for the last few years. The success of the agency has your fingerprints, your handprints all over it, and you'll always be remembered as one of our finest CEOs. I have been pleasured by having you as a resident of our city, and you are one of our most distinguished members, and we hope to keep you in our city as a prime resident, and I want to wish you the very, very best in your next endeavor. It's been a delight to work with you. Best wishes.
Thank you, Vice Chair Puckett. Any other comment? Okay, I would like to, this is Christina Shea, Chair, and so I do want to bring up, and I don't know, Dan Bain, if you're still on board, I read something that you are going to be moving to the City of Oz pretty soon and leaving us, and did you want to make any comments, or did I misread that information?
No, I think it's probably pretty well known at this point. I know it's been in the press, but you're correct, and I didn't want to step on Mike's sort of exit. I echo. Thank Mike for his service. Anybody in public service over the last few years with this political climate deserves a special award for sort of dealing with that. But I myself announced at the last council meeting that I was resigning from the city council effective on April 21st because I was offered an in-house general counsel and vice president position at a company back in Kansas City, which is, as many know, where I grew up. A good friend owns the company, and I unexpectedly got a job offer that I could not refuse. So I served on the TCA board for a short time, but I just wanted to thank and commend many of the folks that I've served with. I've been actually delighted to find what service-oriented folks that we have serving the public in Orange County. We've disagreed on certainly different issues, but I've always found the dialogue that I've had with the TCA board to be respectful, to be considerate, to be high-level policy, and I thank all of you for that. I'll miss Southern California, but if any of you are ever in Kansas City, please look me up, and I'll take you out for some barbecue and perhaps a cheesecake.
Thank you so much, Director Bain. We will miss you. We've really appreciated your support and effort for the agency. I know we've had differences of opinion over the last year or two, but I believe that we're working much better together. We're really trying to find common ground, and you've been participating in that effort, and I want to thank you so much. And I hope that you might come back. You might enjoy Kansas City, but I think you might come back. I think San Clemente's going to miss you. So with that, we will move to closed session. And prior to addressing the closed session, I know we all probably need to take a break, a 5-minute break. I certainly do. So I will let the city attorney, our general counsel, share what is on the closed session. And then I'm not sure how we would do this. Everybody just mute their phones or put them on. But we would stay, or how do we do that? Can someone explain that before we go to, or do you want to do that, George?
I think I can do that.
Okay,
and if I stray, please.
No, that's perfect. So now we'll turn to our general counsel, George Joseph. Thank you.
Okay, I'll first announce the items for closed session and then a couple of program notes as to how we're going to proceed.
Okay, great.
So we will be convening a joint closed session. First, a conference with legal counsel regarding anticipated litigation under Government Code 54956.9 subdivisions A and D2. And second, also a joint session regarding public employee appointment under subdivision B1 of Government Code section 54957, title Chief Executive Officer. We do anticipate reportable action. So for board members, as I understand it, the instruction is for everybody to stay dialed into the WebEx. And during the next 5 minutes, there will be a transition period so that the WebEx will be converted to a closed session environment.
Okay.
For members of the public, and by the way, it is possible, I'm told, that some of the connections may drop off. If that happens, board members, please simply log on again just as you did initially, and that should be fine.
We're supposed to log the meeting, so
yeah.
Do they have someone they can contact
that would be like a central source.
So we need to send a number in case they can't get back in.
If-
We
yes,
will be
if-
blocking the meeting on the WebEx, so they're going to need to get back in.
If you are dropped from the login to the WebEx, there is a number you can call to our technical person. And is that you, Gordon?
Yes.
Okay, Gordon's number is?
949-338-8122.
So again, the number to call in if you get disconnected before we go into closed session is to call 949-338-8122, and that's Gordon.
Yes.
And if it doesn't work out, we know who's at fault.
And then for members of the public who are viewing or participating in the meeting through the internet, you will see on your screen the title closed session while the board is in closed session. Once the board comes back out of closed session, that title will change and we'll be back to adjournment, I believe.
Yes.
So just watch your screen, and that's how you'll know when the closed session is concluded, and we will be coming out. If there's any action to report, we would report it at that time.
So at this time, we'll move to convene to closed session. We'll be taking 5 minutes, 6 minutes if need be, get something to drink, use the restroom, whatever you need to do, and we will be back in closed session between 5 and 6 minutes, correct?
Correct. So I show it as 12:11 right now, so no later than 12:17 we'll get started.
12:17 we'll get started. Thank you so much.
Stay on the Bureau Board.
I'm on the live stream.
And we are unmuted.
Okay, so we're live streaming and we're unmuted and we're back into regular session. I will turn this over to our counsel, George Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have 2 items to report out of closed session. First, while in closed session, the boards of directors of the Foothill Eastern and San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor agencies voted unanimously to approve an agreement with Chief Executive Officer Mike Kramen with the following material terms. 1, based upon Mr. Kramen's retirement from his position as CEO, effective April 10th, 2020, the TCA will pay to Mr. Kramen an amount provided in Article 6.4 of his employment agreement in the amount of $70,195.28. Second, the TCA will also pay to Mr. Kramen a payment equal to 2 months' salary in the amount of $43,208.49. And third, Mr. Kramen has executed a full release of claims as to the transportation corridor agencies. The second item I have to report out of closed session is that while in closed session, the boards of directors of the Foothill Eastern and San Joaquin Hills Transportation Corridor agencies voted unanimously to appoint Samuel Johnson as the interim chief executive officer of the transportation corridor agencies. That concludes my report.
Thank you so very much. So at this time, we will move to adjournment and our meeting schedule will be, our next board meeting is May 14th. With that, thank you so much for watching, or that's a better way to put it. Thank you so very much. We're now adjourned.
Okay, we're adjourned.